I'm going to cover today, the topic from a different angle. I want to share with you a couple of studies. The study on the future of work. This is what I have been, working on as a topic for nearly 20 years now, and specifically the result around human experience and how we in real estate need to get ready for that massive revolution, that age of transformation that we are seeing around the topic of human experience. It's not a surprise for you to hear that the survival of our business very much depends on the way we can tackle the future of work and empower human experience at the same time. I think we've been hearing a lot around the future of work and a lot around how this is starting to impact enterprise at a very higher level, but also how we real estate have a massive role to play into this. CRE is one of the few functions which has the ability to impact workers and workplace. We are into a very privileged position, and our role has evolved more and more to be not only as a real estate entity looking at the physical environment, but also starting to impact talent and impact attraction and retention rate within an organization. So we have a lot of things to play. When we started our research on the future of work, when I joined JLL in 2015, this is the model that we developed, and today it's still very relevant. I'm going to make reference to this model and the 5 dimensions which are highlighted here, because a lot of our clients are telling us that they put far less focus around finance and operation of their activities and put much more emphasis towards human experience. This is where, the future is. Being future fit and embracing the future of work requires us to constantly strive to be that responsible enterprise, to be an enterprise delivering something else than just a physical, working environment. And today in the program, we are going to hear a lot of examples which actually are just doing that, and looking at how we can be good for the world, good for society, but also good for the people within our working environment. So having that healthy lifestyle is really important. At the same time, we are facing a VUCA world. Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. And we know that we have to fight against quite a lot of forces, especially this year, which is one of these pivotal years where so many things are happening at the same time, which are forcing us to look differently at the world of work and at our enterprise. If we look, towards the future, we're still at a stage where 72% of CEOs know that they're not out-innovating their competitors. So real estate and workplace become one of the levers to actually activate that. But 50% also of the Fortune 500 companies will be lost in the next decade. So how many of you are part of this list of the Fortune 500? Hands up. Okay. 1 chest out of 2 for me in terms of our survival, in the future. So looking at the world that we have today, it's very different, it's very complex. That's why experience is getting much more important and taking much more space, into our life. So take a couple of seconds and think about one moment, one company which actually for you represent experience. You got it? Maybe it's your company, maybe it's a place you've been recently, maybe it's a hotel, a restaurant, a leisure center, or just, for me, one of the companies which inspired that notion of experience in many, many facets is Tesla. Hopefully some of you or many of you have already driven a Tesla or been into a Tesla. Hands up. Did you get that feeling when you got in? There was something really special about the object, the product, the comfort, the texture, everything is, for me, absolutely right when we think about a car. It's elegant, it's comfortable, but Tesla, beyond the comfort of the car that they're doing, as a company, are a very interesting case study. Not sure if they are going to survive over the next 10 years. I hope so. I hope they're here to stay. But they represent something special. They represent something special because in the way that we are being portrayed, the company as a startup which has been successful and moving on into something else, there's also behind it actually an extremely heavy tribal behavior, which you spoke about so well, Killian, before that, in order to actually create a product which, when they started, nobody believed in. So the product is super innovative. It's something different. They're breaking completely the market rules in the way that actually you receive an update for your software in your car while you drive without having the need to go into a garage, which is in itself a massive revolution. But Tesla moved then into a new world. That conquest for a world which we have no clue about, so evolving actually their collaboration work into a new environment which is far different from where they started, but developing something which is outstanding. For those of you who are interested in it, I strongly recommend that you follow the Facebook group of SpaceX and look at it, because every single moment that they share is fascinating. Those guys are actually able to send out 1 kilo in the International Space Station for $2,700 per kilo, against $54,000 from the NASA. Okay? So that's the jump that they have been making. So fascinating thing, the way they talk about themselves, they call themselves being super scrappy. And you know why? It's because they do things with little things. That's exactly what they're saying. They do things with little things, with scrap. Their launch pad was actually built out of scrap material. It's quite risky, but it works. And this culture of being scrappy is really interesting. Let me read actually to you the 6 leadership principles of Tesla and SpaceX. Move fast, do the impossible, constantly innovate, reason from first principle, think like owners, and we are all in. So quite, for me, a strong example. Maybe you have others. And I see many, many examples about places which are not conventional, places where you have high achievers, as far as places which deliver outstanding product and innovation. This photo, I took it at the MIT Media Lab in Boston, and I found it quite fascinating because it is a scrappy environment, isn't it? But it is an educational environment where probably the best people around technology come out of. And I was quite fascinated by the way they organize their working environment, messy, but still they gather together as a little clan in the middle. And when you look at what they deliver, the shopping window of MIT is certainly extremely impressive. Other working environments, to me, are very appealing. This is one photo. I don't know if some of you can actually recognize it, for those who have been there. It is the Edge Olympic in Amsterdam, version 2 of the Edge, which is an extremely pleasant environment. Soft, silent, full of elegant material, and yet packed with technology to understand where you are and what you do. Okay? This photo was taken a month ago in Washington while visiting a new real estate area just opposite the Pentagon. I found the photo extremely pleasant. I mean, clearly somebody enjoying a very nice footpaths along the water. So I thought, oh, I've got to snap this photo. You know, it feels really appealing. Because I was just coming out of a space which actually demonstrated that the real estate developers and investors wanted to know everything about every single movement happening across that zone. It's a little bit like Big Brother. And in this environment, Big Brother was actually watching you. And watch that. This is what they get. Every single time you enter into their real estate zone, you enter a space where they monitor your activity by using your mobile phone without asking you, of course, your approval. Didn't dare to ask why, by the way. I thought I was not in the right location. But more importantly, they used this information to actually monitor the utilization, of course, of the space themselves, so the footpaths, and they would move the retail unit in accordance to the busyness of the environment and increase also the rent per square foot in accordance to how successful that little corner of a street is. It's another world. But it's all about experience, they were telling me. It's all about giving the best events, the best environment to people. So not sure which direction we should go. But clearly we are being submerged with so many different examples about what experience is about, you know, within work. And we've got to get ready for that. Because experience matters. Experience is something which is not new. I mean, we have been experiencing different wave around experience, and which I created this short history of experience, and I've just updated it with the latest. But when you look at how it started, I mean, apparently the first origin of the word experience is from 1887, which is not that old. I thought it would have been a little bit older. The big name like the Coca-Cola, the Ford Motor industry, for me, are a really great example about how experience took another, step up. Clearly, the world of Disney World coming in 1923 give us a different look at what experience is really about, into the workplace. Starbucks, already dated from 1971. The GAFA coming into the late 90s. I've spotted here, the edge, because for me that was a pivotal time for us in real estate around the use of the technology within real estate. And then you move on to all the experience age with the Airbnb, the Uber, the WeWork. Pepper coming in 2016, this little French robot sold massively in Japan, which is, again, bringing another layer. You could, keep going on, and probably you are thinking about other examples. That last wave here is the scariest one, because the world that we have in front of us when we think about the notion of experience is moving us into a new dimension. Last week I was in Amsterdam at the World Summit on Artificial Intelligence. I came out of this conference petrified. And I mean it, petrified. Chief technology officers, chief data officers from the biggest companies around the world scared me, one after the other one. And we in the real estate industry have to get ready for that. And I think it's important that we also look at how this is going to impact that notion of experience, because there's going to be some really good things coming out of this age of implementation powered by artificial intelligence. But there's also a lot of bad things which could be done. Okay? So it's a new world. And that new world is starting to be reflected into the workplace. When you look at the typology of different type of working environment that we've got, which is a very traditional way of looking at our workplace, it's probably much better to look at them as groups of individuals behaving very differently. Again, here, I mean, in our study on human experience, which we published 2 or 3 years ago, we actually do talk about the behavior of workers as tribes. because this is what you have here. The traditionalists, the detached dreamers, the field supporters, daring adventurers. It's a different way of looking at it. And it's different because they are asking for things which are very different. 60% of employees are not fully engaged at work. 50% say their working environment does not enable them to work effectively. 2 in 3 lack spaces where they can be creative, and 76% don't have access to wellness services in their workplace. This is based on a survey of 7,000 participants, okay? Which is all available online. You can go and have a look at it. So what can we do about it? Well, the first thing is that we've got to be future fit, okay? We've got to embrace that massive wave around experience and what is coming our way around the use of digital solution to actually embrace that human experience revolution. Because the number one priority is human experience. This graph here is showing you the percentage of CRE directors who believe they can add value or significant value in the following area. Experience, human experience is number one, but the future fit are even higher. 52% strongly believe that they can add value to human experience. The future fit also are reinventing the employee experience. CRE team are fully integrated with the HR function. Again, look at the result difference between future fit and all others. They massively pilot and adopt human experience app. More than 80% of them are actually at the moment piloting or adopting those different apps. And they want a human experience designer, which is the number one choice as a member of the team in the future. So definitely being future fit is one of the answers. Second one, the new expectation around human experience are creating for us a massive opportunity. A massive opportunity to work with HR to add value. Because what we have is two track of demand which are really converging. On one hand, we have what people want, and on the other hand, we have what the enterprise wants. The people want to be inspired. They want to be connected. They want to be flexible. They want well-being. They want to learn in the workplace. The enterprise, on the other hand, wants to boost innovation and collaboration. They also want to add much more flexibility into their working environment, and they want to use real estate as a way to attract and retain talent and boost productivity. So this converging is really giving a very natural place for human experience to thrive. CRE leaders must step up to meet future expectation. I mean, we know that desired outcomes to enhance human experience, will vary, but employee well-being, as an example, which is here ranked as number 5, is number 3 for the future fit. So we are seeing that there are numbers of desired outcomes which can come out of a human experience, and this is something which we can impact. In order to do that, we in real estate need to get the right people on board. And this is another massive wave of transformation which we need to embrace. Do you know that you will have to actually retrain 52% of your workforce by 2023? 52%. This is what the World Economic Forum is telling us. The cost of retraining one person is between $3,000 to $5,000 per year, and an average training takes between 2 and 3 years. Accenture just retrained 70% of their workforce. It's costing them $1 billion a year. So we need to get ready for that. And in the real estate industry, honestly, we're not ready. Because when you see the type of people which we will need, here they are. This is the list of all the profiles ranked in order of the dream team, the CRE dream team. We've asked 560 CRE directors to tell us who they would put on their team. Number 1, human experience designer. Then you have the space planner, then the word mobility, agility manager, number 9. And then comes hospitality, ambience manager, community, well-being, user interface architect, chief happiness officer. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. So there are some traditional skills which still remain, and which probably are the type of skill which are going to be delivered by your service providers. And there are all the soft skills which we are not ready for at all, which we need to start to embrace. So when we talk about human experience, there are 3 big pools of talents you need to bring in. The soft human skills around emotional intelligence, communication, customer care, hospitality, community management. The one which gravitate around real estate, pure real estate and experience skills, human experience design, architecture, agility, comfort, well-being, and the digital data and data skills, which are probably the hardest to guess at the moment because they cost and harm. And they're not going to decrease their cost per head. But really interesting to look at it. We are working very closely to our client at the moment. This is something which I'm running on future CRE skills to actually drive gap analysis to understand how much they need to retrain or upskill their current skill in order to be this CRE dream team of the future. And I can tell you it's not a little step. It's an ocean between where they are and where they should be. So the people really matter. The last things which we need to do if we want to drive human experience is actually to get the metrics right. Killian, actually, you talked about something really interesting. You say that it's impacting performance and productivity, and that, clear, and we all know that. The only thing is that we don't really measure it properly in real estate. We haven't found yet the magic formula, but we're getting there. And the issue about having real data, looking at next generation metrics is the time to do it. We looked at what the future feet are actually measuring. And if you look at how they compare to the rest, they measure comfort level, continuous user satisfaction, impact on society, their role in CSR, volunteering program, fulfillment, happiness, health and well-being. Look at the gap between the future fit and the rest, okay? So, and those are absolutely essential metrics to put on our book. So, like talent, we do have actually a big step to take in terms of measuring the impact of human experience. The top metrics which are measured today, out of the top 5, 3 are around human experience. The new metrics to be adopted in the future, 2 are metrics. Now, out of this, ask yourself, how many of these metrics are you currently measuring? And let me take a peek. 100%. 75%. 50%. Less than 25%. 0. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you got to ask yourself. I could do the same with that one. Okay. If you're not able to measure that, that's definitely not there yet. Okay. So that's the future. And so the future will be about powering the workplace through human experience. It needs to be one of your key priorities. There's many ways you can do it. The way that we recommended is to do it through engagement, creating a sense of commitment within your workplace, empowerment, creating a sense of control and providing choice to your employees, and fulfillment, creating a sense of comfort. In the topic like engagement, we talk about tribal behaviors, human leadership, the workplace as an emotional, place. Under empowerment, we talk about the place of learning at work, the ability to come together, as a tribe, as team. And under fulfillment, we talk about corporate philanthropy, which goes far beyond corporate social responsibility. We talk about being that responsible enterprise which we all have to be in the future. We also talk about the place of sustainability and biophilic design in it. Okay? This model is all available online, and you can explore it into much more detail. But remember, the workplace has to be powered by human experience. Thank you very much. Any questions?
Here we are. Thank you. So one of the things that we're struggling with right now is, at least in our company, is generative design. And I noticed that when you were looking at the top 20 roles, one was space planning. And so there was a question of where, and I was one of those, one of the slides, but where does that intersect with the technology piece? And I'm getting at, a lot of designers and architects were wondering if their skill set was going to become obliterated because of generative design, which is basically a computer designing for you. And so the thought was, what about the skill set that's required to do the space planning? So does that interfere with that space planning at 50% being a top role, or is that going to be taken over by computers?
Yeah, we thought really long and hard about the type of profile we should actually put into our questionnaire, and the respondent had a choice between 50, so quite a lot. And we wanted to actually keep some of the traditional roles. Also saying this, space planners, if I don't have any kids, if one of my nephew or nieces were telling me, hey, Auntie Marie, I want to be a space planner, I would tell her, hey, learn about computing and programming. Yes, because it will be done nearly automatically. Yes. Actually, MIT at the moment is working on a solution where they feed, plan into a scanner, and that would automatically calculate the best layout, for you. So we're very, very close to have it done. So yeah, yes, but that place of technology. The question we need to ask ourselves is which role does real estate has to play in it? Are we early adopters of it, and we bring in people with those skills and have specific new roles, or are we fast followers and we let others to do it first, and there may well be pure technology companies who have no understanding of real estate. So that's where we are at the moment.
So that must be part of that retraining. So if you've got this whole segment, skill set, and we're saying in 2023, sorry, do something else because we'll have computers that do that.
Yes, although the space planners will still be there in 2023. Because not everybody is a future fit enterprise today. It's only 20% of real estate companies who are future fit, 20%. The others are cautious followers. Good. Another question? Maybe I'm running out. Yeah?
Hi, Marie, it's Sam here. I couldn't help but notice that there was no workplace consultant or workplace strategist in your top 20 list. That makes me really fearful of my future in life. So just wanted to get a bit more clarity on what is the definition of a human experience designer, because from what I understand, it's a mixture of three things you mentioned: real estate information, data mining or digital, and softer skills, which is a typical definition of a workplace strategist.
Yes, it could. And I have that question systematically. So I think will come a point where I will actually write the profile of a human experience designer. But yes, it's a mix. And yes, you're right. The workplace manager is not part of the top 20. But there are much more roles behind this list. Yeah. But yes, a human experience designer will need to be an individual who is a little bit of an anthropologist, a little bit of a leader and a manager, a designer. It's an hybrid role. But the issue here is how do you orchestrate experience within the workplace, and it's not just a real estate solution. And I think that's where also it's a big wake-up call for us, that human experience is not only about real estate. The way we've actually designed this, these things are really annoying. The way that we design this model on human experience, 60% of the content of this wheel is real estate specific. The rest is HR and IT specific. So, okay. Thank you.